Okay, good evening, everyone. I will call to order the City of Laguna Beach Planning Commission meeting for February 19th, 2025. May I have roll call, please?
Before I actually do the roll call, I want to confirm, Commissioner Goldman, are you able to hear us clearly?
Yes, I can hear and see you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly. Thank you very much. And for the record also, I want to note that Commissioner Whitenett is absent today. So I'll proceed with roll call. Commissioner Goldman,
Here.
Commissioner Dubin,
Here.
Chair Pro Tem Kellenberg,
Here.
Chair Sadler.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. There's a period at the beginning of our meeting for public communications. That'd be for members of the public to speak to us on not any non-agenda item, but items that are under our general purview. Are there any members of the public who would like to make public comments tonight? Seeing none, I'll close the public communications and we'll move on to the consent calendar. The consent calendar this evening consists of the January 15th, 2025 draft minutes and the February 5th, 2025 draft minutes of the Planning Commission's meeting. Are there any members of the commission or any members of the public who would like to pull either of those consent items? Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Goldman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dubin,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Kellenberg,
Yes.
Chair Sadler.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Then we'll move on to our regular business and public hearings. We have just one item tonight on for public hearings, and that is item 5.1, and that is a sign permit 25-0231 at Oto's Sushi, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And Sarah Olson will be providing us with the staff report for that tonight. Sarah?
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning Commission. Item 5.1 is request for approval of a sign permit for Oto's Sushi Restaurant located at 370 Glenery Street. The property is located at the intersection of Glenery and Mermaid Street within the downtown commercial district of the downtown specific plan area. The subject building is an approximately 5,500 square foot commercial building currently occupied by Oto's Sushi. The business is a full-service restaurant serving beer, wine, and distilled spirits and is subject to the conditions set forth in a previously approved conditional use permit for the prior restaurant Harley Laguna Beach. The applicant is proposing one wall sign and one logo wall sign. The proposed wall sign will be located above the entrance on Mermaid Street and will orient toward southbound Glenery traffic. The sign will consist of gold-painted aluminum reverse channel letters with letter heights of up to 21 inches and span a length of 64 inches for a total sign area of 9.3 square feet. The letters will be equipped with 4,000 Kelvin LEDs that shine through a clear Lexan back and onto the face of the building, resulting in halo illumination. The proposed logo sign will be located above the entrance on Glenery Street. The sign will consist of a gold-painted aluminum reverse channel letters in the shape of a fish with an O cut out representing the restaurant name and the word sushi. The fish logo is approximately 50 inches in height and spans a width of approximately 24 inches. The word sushi is 6 inches in height and spans a length of approximately 31 inches. The logo sign, including the word sushi, would be 13.5 square feet in sign area. The logo sign will be equipped with 4,000 Kelvin LEDs that shine through a clear Lexan back and onto the face of the building, resulting in halo illumination. Overall, staff finds that the proposed signs meet the design criteria and the objective design standards for wall signs and recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the attached resolution approving the sign permit application and finding said action exempt from CEQA. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Sarah. Are there any questions of staff? Commissioner Goldman, do you have any questions of staff?
No.
Okay, any other commissioners?
Just to confirm, I think it's clear in the staff report, but the square footages are all consistent with the current design code.
That's correct.
Does that go for the height of the lettering as well?
The letter height exceeds 8 inches, which is why it has to be before the Planning Commission.
Okay. Commissioner,
No question.
no question? Okay, we will go to the applicant. If you would like to come up and give us any information about the sign application, or maybe answer any questions we may have.
How you doing? My name is Dante Esparza. I'm with America's Instant Sign. We're the contractor that's going to be building and installing the signage. No, we work closely with Sarah to make sure that everything is up to the codes that the city requires, the material, the illumination, everything. So we feel that it should fit perfectly, and the building there before had similar signage up on as well. So we're confident with the material and the design of it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Well, the sign letter size, thanks for clarifying that, does exceed kind of the standard.
For the Odo sign, where it's just the 3 letters, it does exceed the signage just because it is 3 letters alone. And to go less than 8 inches in height, it's just you wouldn't be able to see the sign. It would be redundant to have a sign. For the sushi logo, the component that says sushi is at 6 inches, so that meets it. But it's the logo of the fish above it that is larger than the 8 inches for the same reason, because of the elevation. Going smaller would be no point in needing a sign.
Okay, thank you.
One quick question. Have you had any issues with the painted aluminum in this type of coastal environment, I would say?
No,
You
it
don't,
never had an issue with it.
okay, it holds up fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
And it's a professional paint job that's done as well too, so it secures onto the aluminum perfectly.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll ask you this question, and it's kind of just to give a heads up to our fellow commissioners. Also, we recently had a sign permit that we reviewed, which was just up the street on Glen Area Park, I
Laguna.
guess, the Farmers and Merchants sign. And there was some discussion about the Kelvin strength of the light itself and whether or not 4,000 was going to be too bright. And there was something about the difference of whether the lighting was coming through the letters or just being halo lit. And I can't, Anthony, can you refresh my memory about that discussion?
I think they are, as far as the Kelvin, they were initially asking for 7,000, which is daylight, and we had them
Correct.
reel it into, I think it was around
4,000.
4,000.
We went from 7,000 to 4,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think didn't we also disallow the backlight on their smaller logo sign?
Yes, that is correct, Commissioner. The Planning Commission conditioned the F&M Bank logo to omit the lighting, and instead the logo would be pin mounted onto the perforated metal panel.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you very much. I'll open the public hearing. If any members of the public wish to speak on this, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and go to commissioner discussion. Commissioner Goldman, do you want to begin?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a fairly simple application. I don't have any objections to it. The lighting, George, as you has indicated, I think is consistent with where we wound up a couple of weeks ago. So I'm fine to support this application.
Thank you. Commissioner Dubin.
Yeah, I'm the same. I have no issues with it. It seems pretty straightforward, and my only question I had was answered. I always get a little concerned about, especially an aluminum sign, because they can expand and contract in heat and the salty air. So if you've had no problems with it, I don't either. So I'm going to be supportive.
Commissioner Kellenberg.
I think it's a good looking sign and a nice looking logo, and I think it's very tasteful. So the sizes are a little larger, but I think you're right. I mean, it's only 3 letters. It kind of makes sense. So I'm supportive.
I'm supportive as well. As I to the best of my recollection, Harley, which was one of the recent restaurants that was in the same space, had a similar, I think, halo lit sign that was the size of the letters were larger than would be typically allowed. But I thought it was tastefully done, and I think this one is as well. So I'm willing to support it. If somebody would like to make a motion.
Yeah, I will move that we adopt a resolution approving sign permit 25-0231 and finding said action exempt from CEQA.
Yes, I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Goldman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dubin,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Kellenberg,
Yes.
Chair Sadler.
Yes. Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Good luck to your client.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to other business, if there is any, Anthony.
There are no staff reports this evening, Chair, but I will just maybe quickly mention as a reminder, next week, the Planning Commission is holding a special meeting. It's Wednesday, February 26th at 6 p.m., and it's a discussion on the Promenade project.
Thank you for that. And as I mentioned earlier, I will not be able to attend that. So Commissioner Kellenberg will be acting as chair for that meeting. And good luck with that. I noticed we had also just gotten this kind of flow chart or informational thing. Was there any particular reason we received this?
I can explain that since I created it.
Oh, okay.
I was having a chat, and we're not going to get into discussing the content, but I was chatting with my son who deals with this kind of stuff all the time, and we were talking about, where things kind of get bogged down, and he suggested, to create a chart that would, with, some subcategories where at some point, as you go, and none of the subcategories are intended to be perfect, but that as you go through these things, you will be able to maybe go, okay, in column 3 or 4, there's 2 places where things really get bogged down. And so instead of trying to correct everything, you can kind of zero in on the areas that are causing choke points for applicants and staff as well. So I just did this as a visual way of sort of trying to sort that out. So it's just something for you guys can look at, and you can make notes on it or whatever you want to do.
No, that could be helpful. Really, and I know we probably all got the same email from our city manager asking, if we had any input regarding the process and any kind of suggestions for improvement. And I've been thinking about it, but really, as I came to understand pretty clearly is I don't understand exactly what happens in terms of the process and processing and how these things work through. I mean, we're on the tail end of it,
Right.
and we know what it is when it gets to us, but how the whole process of the city processing these applications is really a mystery to me. So I don't have really any suggestions off the top of my head because I'm so kind of unfamiliar with the process. And I don't know if that's typical or, if we ever have the opportunity or if it's even helpful or necessary for us to delve into that process more. I mean, I know the most I ever get is some general feedback from the public about, gee, this takes a long time and complaints and things like that. And we don't really know why other than.
Well, that's why I did this, because I felt the same way. So I wanted to, at least in my own mind, be able to sort of think about, each stage of the process and where potential things happen, because you're right. We get staff reports and we're dealing with things sort of after the fact instead of, sort of being able to be part of maybe coming up with some solutions, because we're the ones sort of dealing with why did this, there's certain things like even sign permits sometimes that I feel like that could have just been done administratively, like we didn't have to even review it. So that's all this is for, is just to sort of get an idea of the steps that an applicant has to go through to finally get to us, you know. So
Understood. Okay.
that's it.
Any committee, commissioner, or staff reports? Seeing none, and because in Commissioner Goldman being where he's at and the hour being what it is there, that we will move it along to adjournment. If somebody would like to make a motion to adjourn to our next,
And that would be to the February 26, 2025 special meeting of the Planning Commission.
I move that we adjourn to the February 26th, 2025 special meeting of the Planning Commission on the Promenade.
Second.
roll call, please.
Commissioner Goldman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dubin,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Kellenberg,
Yes.
Chair Sadler.
Yes, we are officially adjourned. Thank you.